I use Snowflake a lot at work as a software engineer, and I realized recently that I don't know all the features that exist on Snowflake. It was actually a senior developer who told me that I probably need to learn more about what Snowflake actually does that makes it useful and why we would use Snowflake over something like SQL Server. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what exactly Snowflake is. And in short, it's a very modern, very recently created cloud-based data platform designed for storing, analyzing, and recording a massive amount of data. We're not talking about terabytes of data, and we're not talking about anything small scale here. We're talking about petabytes. I guess you could store terabytes on there. That's what we do. But it was designed to handle even more. It was designed to handle petabytes. And the whole idea of Snowflake was that it was going to be managed in the cloud. So there's no on-prem infrastructure that you have to manage, like no servers or anything like that. Unlike a traditional data warehouse, sort of like SQL Server, Snowflake is made for the cloud. So that means it's not just software that you would host on something like AWS or Azure. It was designed from the ground up to take full advantage of scalability, elasticity, reliability, and then of course performance if you need more compute. At the core of Snowflake is this idea that we don't need to keep or couple storage and performance anymore, or compute. We can basically separate the two, which means that you don't need to upgrade storage or the entire server to get performance from your storage. So in most older systems, data and the resources that process that data were really tightly connected. So if you want faster queries, you have to scale your storage and your compute together at the same time. But in Snowflake, these two are completely separate. So data sits in one place, and you can spin up as many compute clusters as you need. Snowflake calls these compute clusters virtual warehouses. And as you want to process it or process the data more, you just spin up more virtual warehouses or larger virtual warehouses. You only pay for the compute that you use, and this auto-scales depending on the workload that you're asking Snowflake to do. So one of the biggest strengths of cloud storage is that it's fully managed and serverless. So it's not your server, it's completely patched on its own. There's no DBA you have to go in and do server upgrades and fallbacks. Snowflake manages all that completely. There's also no VMs you have to configure, so also no patching, no tuning indexes or partitions. Snowflake handles all of that for you. And so you're billed on a pay-as-you-go model. So that pay-as-you-go model goes all the way down to the second of compute power that you're using. It's also multi-cloud, which means there's integration for AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. It'll sit on top of all three of those, and you can share data across clouds. So there's no syncing involved when you're trying to work with Azure or AWS or GCP. Some other cool features that Snowflake has is time travel. So you can query historical data from the past 90 days. I know that has definitely come in handy for me at work, where we're trying to figure out who added certain statements in a join. So it basically gives you a fallback for your queries. You can basically keep a historical log. So very, very critical for business functions whenever there's an issue or an error and you're trying to figure out who is doing what. Zero copy cloning, so you can instantly create copies of entire databases without duplicating the storage. Very useful, especially if you're trying to clone a DB or a schema, and then you just want to see, or even a table, and you want to see, you want to experiment with that data, and you don't want to mess up the original data set. And then of course there's really secure data sharing as well. You can share live data without the need for APIs or pipelines. So that's really useful as well. Snowflake for us is used a lot for our business intelligence teams, real-time analytics. We have some machine learning algorithms that we use using Snowflake. And then we even have data lake use cases, which we don't really use it for. But Snowflake is widely used by a lot of big companies. So like Adobe, Capital One, DoorDash, I'm pretty sure all use Snowflake to manage their data. So very topically, Snowflake is very fast. It's very scalable because it sits in the cloud. It's serverless, meaning the server exists somewhere else on someone else's computer. So that means they manage all the patching and updates. So the servers are not on-prem, and it's very easy to use compared to traditional data warehousing servers. So it's become kind of like this like modern kind of go-to choice because it offers these like cloud native solutions that are a lot more cheaper, honestly, because SQL Server licensing is not cheap at all. So Snowflake, is pretty cheap overall. So I want to get a little more into detail about Snowflake. So here we're going to start setting up Snowflake and learning how to use it a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to use Snowflake. So we're just going to do some basic creating a database, creating a schema, creating a table, populating it with some information, and then just doing a general query to make sure that it's working. So to sign up for Snowflake, you just have to go on snowflake.com, and then you can just sign up here in the corner, start for free. And I just did, I think it was like the basic learner account, just someone looking to explore. It asks for a school name and company name, but I just put in like none or something like that. And you just go to your email and then you sign up for it. It's pretty straightforward. So once you get there, they will give you a bunch of like general queries to start running and use. So I am using a few of those. I just kind of used my own because I didn't really care to use their stuff for this tutorial. But yeah, you don't really even need like my video to learn it. They give you some pretty good examples. So anyways, we want to make sure we're using the right role with the right access. So if you go in the bottom left, you can actually check out your different roles that you have. So account admin probably has the most access. Then there's like public, security, sys, and whatever. So at my company, I know when it comes to roles, we have different ones based on what data you need access to. So if you're someone who's working mainly with analytics, we're not going to give you access to everything because there is some sensitive identifying information there. So we don't want to give maybe like a BA access to stuff like that. So we can set the role using use role. So you just run it. You don't have to highlight in Snowflake. You can just leave the cursor right in front of the use role line, and then you can run it. This blue line will pop up here, and it will basically run the account admin role. So it executed successfully. Make sure we're using the compute warehouse. So these warehouse sizes basically give us the amount. Basically, we're using the extra small one right now because we don't want to use too much compute power. The bigger the warehouse, the more the compute power. So when you have a really big database, you'd obviously need more compute. So now we're going to create banana base. So we're going to run it. And so it was successfully created. So we should see it pop up. Let me refresh. Okay, so I refreshed, and now we see banana base, and we see some basic, information, some schemas, some public data. Okay, so now we're going to create Crema schema. So we just put the cursor in front, and so then we should see a new schema pop up here. Let's see, banana base, Crema schema, cool. So that's there. There are no objects in there. So now we're going to create a table. So I'm going to put the cursor from here. So we made a random table. Going to refresh one more time. database, create a schema, tables, random table, and we want to insert some data into there. So I'm going to run this insert command, just basic fruit information, nothing crazy. And we got a successful number of rows inserted, 5. And if we refresh, we should be able to query the table. So we're just going to select everything from it. And when we run this, we will see all our data there. So ID, an ID number, fruit name, and yeah, so that's it for my super basic tutorial. I think I'm going to go into more advanced features later in future videos. I'm still working on them, so thank you for tuning in, and I hope you got something out of this. Have a good one.